Yeah, okay.
Hi, welcome to Tennis Volley Talk with Brian Danielson. Hey, today I'm going to be doing an over the phone interview with yet another former pro. He actually played from 1973. At the time I was in high school and starting in on the old high school courts with all the old guys. And then finally retired back about 86. So he was on the tour for a long time. He had a career high of 7 in the world, and number 5 in doubles. Actually won the 1980 Wimbledon championships. Today on my tennis podcast, Tennis Volley Talk, welcome another Brian, because I did interview with Brian Gottfried, another Brian Teacher. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me. Just a quick correction. So I played at UCLA 72 to 76 and then went professional. And it was the Australian Open I won, and it was the 1980 Australian Open. Of course, it finished in 81 because they used to play it over December, January.
Yeah, December, January is when and it's still, that's still right in their summertime. So I bet you it was nice and toasty there. Not quite like it is a foot of snow here in Minnesota today. So,
oh wow,
and wet snow. So I've been out shoveling today. So.
Oh my God! It's in the high 80s in LA today.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that would be so nice to do. It'd be so nice to be at. But anyway, you during your profession and going through that and winning the Australian Open in '80, you also played in the French, which then that is a hard thing for a lot of Americans to do, is play the French Open on the red clay or green clay at the time. Before it went to red clay, but and then of course Wimbledon was is always a good tournament and a nice tournament. And then of course you turn around, and then you played a U.S. Open, which probably back in the day you were playing was over there at Forest Hills at the West Side Tennis Club, which is a beautiful facility. I was able to go there, and when I went to the U.S. Open Fan Appreciation Week in 2024, so able to interview somebody, and then I was able to go take a look, and they showed me everything, and even Bud Collins' library, which was really a fun treat to do.
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't think the French Open was ever on green clay. I think it's always on red clay.
Yeah, it has been.
And then when I started playing the U.S. Open, of course it was at Forest Hills, and it was grass courts, right? It was all grass, and then kind of in the last year or two, I think they changed it to clay, which was unfortunate. I think it was a bad decision by the USTA, and then it moved after that just straight over to Flushing Meadows. And of course, that tournament in the original late 70s, 77 when it moved was probably the least favorite tournament of anybody on the tour, because the facility was really poor at that time. It just come about.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fun at all. You had the planes flying so low it would scramble your brain, basically.
That's true.
And they're cooking hamburgers at the side of the court. You're trying to play 3 out of 5 sets, and the hamburger smoke's blowing across your face while you're trying to breathe in 5-set match when it's hot and humid.
Yeah, and you're going, boy, that sure smells good.
Yeah, it was not a lot of fun, but certainly today it's kind of state-of-the-art facility, and it's a pretty amazing place what they've done with it.
Oh, it really is, and myself being able to go there for the last 2 years. Actually, I went to the Fan Appreciation Week, and then last year got one day in at the U.S. Open, and then actually saw Pam Shriver there too, and she was doing things. I said hi to her, which was kind of fun to do, and to say hi to her and everything. But with that too, you were also a pretty outstanding high school player. But when you were growing up, what did you, was it something that were you a sports guy through your early childhood, and how did that come about? Or did you get into tennis and go, I like this, it hooked me, but I do have it feels natural to me?
Well, I really just, I kind of grew up I was born in 54, and so in San Diego was kind of just a big more of a Navy town in the 50s and 60s. And there wasn't a lot to do except go surfing and play. You could play some team sports, baseball, basketball, or and then my mom liked tennis, so she would play at the public parks in Morley Field before I got into school, and so I would watch her play. And I decided I'd like to try and play tennis, and so Morley Field was a public facility and kind of became my stomping grounds where I pretty much hung out there anywhere from 5 to 7 days a week playing tennis, during my early years until I went to school at UCLA. And yeah, I liked tennis. It was a lot more fun, I thought, than the team sports because you only have to look at yourself in the mirror. You don't have to rely on other people, and you're constantly playing as opposed to the team sports, baseball or whatever. You don't get into the action all the time. So I like being in the action. It was fun and very competitive sport.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. And with that, because in a sense, because you were growing up, I'm like about a year younger than you, but I grew up still in the same way in high school and grew up with a couple of my friends at the one junior high court. Played every day. My parents said, "How come you're not home?" "I got to go play tennis." tennis. And then went into the high school part of it. And then the old guys at the tennis court took us under their wing. And then I just kind of played through the years and on a good old white cement tennis court with the yellow lines and a chain link fence for a net. So that was a good learning experience for somebody growing up at our age.
I know the chain link fence well.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, but still, that is such a formidable learning and growing up, having that experience and having those guys that took you under their wing and hit with you all that time. And then you then ended up going into high school and kind of you ended up being a pretty outstanding high school player as well. Then I would guess.
Well, I was playing, I started very early when I was, early, in the 10 and under. I got pretty competitive with it early on and was playing Southern Cal tournaments and was always pretty good in the Southern Cal sectionals. And then, started going to play national tournaments and just kind of worked my way up and just, I enjoyed playing. That became my identity, was playing tennis and kind of trying to get good and better, and it was fun for me.
Oh, absolutely, and that's really you got the bug, and it was kind of nice, and it didn't feel like work to you because being and then going through the college part of it. Now you were kind of making a mention though with being more of a single-minded sport, but with you and kind of playing the singles, but that going and having the team sport. Was that kind of a little different environment, or did you kind of like playing the singles? But you did play doubles, I'm sure, and then had to play and get that strategy down with doubles.
Well, the team, it was a lot of fun playing at university. Probably some of the best time of my life were playing at UCLA. Of course, it was one of the best schools in the country. In the NCAAs, it was. They had won the NCAAs a couple of years up. I think 2 out of the last 3 years. And when I came there in '72, so they were one of the top schools. And of course, coming in as a freshman, there's guys that are 3 and 4 years older than me. And, you're growing up in the juniors and you're playing, your age or 1 year above. So when you're playing three and 4 years above you at age 17 or whatever, when I came in, I came into UCLA when I was 17 and a half. So they're a lot physically stronger than you typically, and so there's a big still learning curve, right? So it was a lot of fun to try to catch up to them and try to be competitive with them. And so I probably my first year at UCLA as a freshman was probably my biggest improvement the whole 4 years I was there.
Oh my gosh, that's such a learning experience to be able to and have the guys that you played with too, and then when you turn pro and everything too, to be able to play the people I grew up with, like the Borgs and the Gottfrieds and the McEnroes or all of those guys that grew up in that kind of an era also. It just, and plus being able to, whenever you did travel and play the tournaments that you were at, what an experience to be able to be, in a foreign country, but yet I'm doing something and playing something that I love, and it's not work to me when you're doing it.
No, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. Of course, it was a lot of hard work, and playing on the tour, you got your ups and downs. Of course, when you're playing well and you're doing well, it's a lot of fun. And when you're getting your ass handed to you daily, and you're getting beat, it's not a lot of fun. It gets depressing. You gotta try to figure out why you're losing. Figure it out. Sometimes you get in good slumps where you have trouble figuring out, and it gets pretty frustrating. But you try to figure it out and claw your way out. Just kind of like in business, when business is not going well, you got to figure out what you need to do to get ahead, right?
That's true. That is so true. And one of the matches that you ended up playing, and I was kind of reading about it, was the World Super Tennis Tournament there in Tokyo. And you ended up beating good old Jimmy Connors and Arthur Ashe, both of those guys. And then before you lost in the final, but still to play those guys, how was Arthur Ashe still in his prime in a way, or was he kind of getting a little into more of his later time? But how was it playing Arthur Ashe?
Well, I think Jimmy was in his prime. Certainly.
Okay,
I think it was in '79. Arthur, I think he won Wimbledon in '74, so he was a little bit he was out of his prime for sure. But Jimmy was in. But still, that was my first great success.
Yeah.
And, on the tour. And it was the first tournament that was live out of Japan. They showed it on TV, so that was kind of exciting. It was broadcast, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it was exciting for me, that's for sure.
Well, sure. And then you came across the machine, Bjorn Borg. So go figure that one, right? That was a tough out.
Well, yeah. I mean, all those guys were tough. Those top players, they were pretty special. Of course. It's a different day and age than today. The players that got to be number 1, number 2, or 3 in the world back then, nobody really had a team like that. There wasn't enough money in the game. So today, these guys, it's like a Formula One team, right? They've got their coach, their assistant coach, their trainer, their masseuse. It's like they got a whole team to keep them going, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it was a different day and age, right? They're just way more professional in their dedication, and their approach is more scientific.
Oh, sure.
And everybody in those days just kind of winged it a little bit, and but they were a tough group of guys, all great athletes, but just not trained the same way they are today.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think they train just more precise in a sense today because of everything that they have, all the precise stuff that goes into what they're doing and working out and playing tennis too. And then
I would say more variation, which more balance.
Oh, sure.
The whole thing.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And today proves that with today's match at Indian Wells, just unbelievable. Women's final and men's final, both just unbelievable today. And plus to have be in that heat in 95-degree weather, just amazing in itself to watch those 4 people play today with that. But with that too, I've just had the opportunity myself. Did you ever play anything with World Team Tennis, or did you anything with WCT or anything of that?
I never played World Team Tennis. I was never real fond of the format. I played some WTC events, but later on, kind of almost when it faded out, I started playing it, and I started doing pretty well in the tournaments because there was a lot of prize money in it. And I think in the day there was a little competition between WTC and the ATP, and a lot of the agents in tennis. I was with ProServe, and they kind of poo-pooed playing WTC, and they wanted you to play more of the ATP events. So finally, I just saw a lot of guys making a lot of money. I said, you know what, I'm going to go play those events.
Yeah, got to.
Too much money.
Yeah, got to follow the money a little bit there too, don't you?
Yeah.
with that. But yeah, no, it just kind of I'd had the opportunity at one time or another to actually see World Team Tennis when it came through Tulsa, where I was from, Oklahoma. And they had an event there called the Bank of Oklahoma Tournament, which Connors played in for 10 years. And I had the opportunity to see him and a lot of players in that. And then the World Team Tennis, I was able to take a picture, and none other than right after, not too long, a few years after he had played Billie Jean King, it was Bobby Riggs, and I have a picture of him looking at my camera. So I kind of, it's a good picture. It's kind of a cherished picture that I ended up taking back then. With the old 35 millimeter and black and white too. So that was a fun thing. But with that, I've just had the opportunity over the years with tennis to be able to take the pictures and just have such a wonderful time playing tennis myself.
One of my best learning experiences was when I was probably anywhere from 14 to 16, and Bobby Riggs was down in San Diego, and he'd come out to Morley Field and or La Costa, and a bunch of the older guys, we would, Bobby, he wouldn't play unless he was betting on something.
Oh, that's right.
So it was always like trying to find the exact spot where, that he could possibly beat me, whether it was like two serves, and, whether it was love 30 and I only got one serve.
Oh. Yeah.
Or sometimes, then if I beat him that way, then he'd have 3 love, and I would only get, then he'd get 30 love, and I'd only have 1. So we try to figure it out so that it was very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And so he'd always push the edge. If I beat him, then okay, I'd have to spot him more.
Mm-hmm.
So this was before the Billie Jean King, match.
Oh, sure.
And it was a good learning experience playing under pressure, and of course the guys were always betting money, and of course they would give me some of the winnings if I win, so I'd have an incentive to win, right?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Okay. So it was fun.
Oh, I'm sure it was back then to be able to have that experience with like the person that he was too. Just phenomenal to have to been able to grow up and do that and play and hit against Bobby Riggs too. With that, but also with WCT, I've had that. I saw Borg and Vilas play in '76, so that was really a fun thing to do too over the years with that. Then also with that too, when you kind of finally retired and were kind of doing and playing, what kind of got you into thinking, because there's a lot of pros out there, I mean, i.e. John Newcomb and pros out there that actually went in to running a tennis club. What kind of got you into that and thinking, I want to try to see what I can do with that, and then you kind of maybe, how did you get into that thinking about doing the tennis?
I never ran a tennis club. I mean, I that wasn't the business that I really wanted to get into.
Okay.
I played around with John Letts, who's a buddy of mine. He's out here in Pasadena. He played at Stanford, and he got a law degree, and then he was practicing copyright law, and then he got sick of it and said, I want to go into tennis business. So he runs about 6 or 7 facilities. And at one point, we did an RFP for a brand new facility in Riverside, and we were running it together, and it was just too far away drive from where I was in Pasadena. I just kind of dropped out of it. It's a tough business. It's a tough business running the facility, and it's a tough management business. But I'll tell you now, since COVID, all these, when COVID happened, all the tennis clubs got a lot busier because people weren't going to the gym, and all of a sudden, because they couldn't go to the gym because of COVID, and they started playing tennis outside because they wouldn't be transmitted. And then now it's the advent of pickleball. Yeah, a lot of the clubs have taken a couple of courts out and doubled their membership. So with two tennis courts, you can probably get 200 extra members. With pickleballs, 200 or 300 members. So
that's true.
They're all doing so much better with a little pickleball. So the business in tennis business and pickleball the clubs have picked up where they're a lot more lucrative than they ever were.
Oh, I'm sure there was. I myself, I've played it a few times, but I think sometimes pickleball is kind of a good little thing for a tennis player that's kind of coming back from injury a little bit, because it's so much similar to tennis that it's kind of similar movement. So kind of helps you get back into the swing of things before you go back out to the tennis court.
Possibly, I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a super big fan of it. Basically,
I know. I'm diehard tennis myself, so
it's a fun social game.
Yes,
let me just say that.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Now, you YouTubers out there, just like, subscribe, and comment on what you like doing. If you like the phone calls here, and then also you podcasters out there, you're going to hear about the Racket of the Week here coming up, and I'll. Which I like doing, and I kind of give a history, a little bit of rackets that I have. And if you happen to watch this interview, it'll be up on YouTube probably tomorrow, or it'll be dropping. So you can go to Tennis Volley Talk on YouTube, and you'll see a little bit of my collection of my tennis rackets in the background too. So it's been fun to collect those also. But with that too, it's just a really great that getting in there and having that passion still, and then still showing people how to hit the ball and everything like that just makes it so much better, and keeping in tennis realm of things, which I've just continued through my 50 years of playing myself.
Yeah, it's fun to I enjoy helping a few kids here and there, and it's fun to stay in it, and just I've been working on some technology. I've got an app, Full Court Tennis, where you can take videos of your strokes and compare them to the pros in our pro library, where you can digitally look them back and forth and lock the context points, so you can see exactly what you're doing and what you need to do. And we've got a website, fullcourttennis.com, which is agnostic. So we're on iOS on the app, but the website is agnostic. And so you're able to also look at your strokes. You're able to download your practice or match play. And then, you can kind of scroll through it back and forth, see your strokes and see your spacing. What's a big thing is the footwork and spacing today is that there's so many kids and players that are waiting around for the ball, and they're not moving around or up to the ball or back and up and around. They're just waiting. And so it's a big thing. And so the number one thing for coaches is they don't have time to watch a kid play because they're busy on the court. So this solves a big problem. And the other problem for the players is they can't move up a level unless they figured out why they lost. So
That's true.
You have to answer the question why you lost. If you can't answer the question why you lost, you can't get any better.
Well, that's true.
That's 100% true. So this solves a big problem. So I'm excited. We just released this hired match thing where we have like 900 coaches on the platform, over 100 countries. So you either get your own coach to analyze your match, and it's easy technology on there to be able to analyze it. You press a button. You can change you can record your narrative at any speed, zoom in and zoom out, or you can switch to annotate. And so it's very, very functional. And if you're serious about tennis, you got to figure out why you lost. That's the number one thing.
Absolutely. Well, I kind of chalk it up to being old, can't see the ball anymore, and my knees hurt. Oh, well, that's but I'm playing the youngsters that are still 40 years old.
We're going to get you some new eyes.
That's it. I know.
They're regenerating cartilage now for new knees, and they're starting to anyway. It's on the horizon, and they're working on anti-aging FDA trials right now to solve aging. So right around the corner, just keep it together.
Keep it together.
You'll be running around like a spring chicken before you know it.
That's right. I know. My gosh. But I just so appreciate that. Like I said, I've been doing this for 3 years. I've been trying to grow the podcast and getting pros on, like I have. One of the ones that I got on, my first one was Vince Van Patten. That used to be on the pro tour for 10 years, and I talked to him, and the only reason is because he kind of knew me, because I met him at an exhibition where he was the guest player, with Dean Paul Martin Jr. and then Ili Nastasi and the great Vitas Gerulaitis.
There you go. I know all of them.
You know, and everything. But with that too, it's if you happen to find or come across and to just maybe hopefully push or promote my podcast, if you have any emails of some of the other guys out there, just feel free to shoot me a line, let me know, and I can get a hold of them and give them an invite somehow. So just to try to grow my podcast too.
Sure.
Yeah. And then with that today, I got it's pretty nice looking racket here. It's about 1960s racket. It's really actually, it's called a Salmo, but it's not really, I don't know what kind of manufacturer Salmo is.
But I don't know that name.
I don't either, but it's Salmo, but it's really a nice veneer on the racket. And it's probably around about 1960s is what it is. But it's probably been restrung with the old nylon string instead of the string that usually came with it, the striped string that usually came with the rackets from the manufacturer. But it's called the Elite model. It's brown. It has a really nice design brown with it too. And called the Elite, and it's Salmo. But also too, because it does have the newer strings in it, so they didn't have the trebling strings that were usually on the top, above the cross string on the top, and then right below the cross string on the bottom, which were really kind of the precursor. Those strings were kind of the precursor to the string savers, the little rubber string savers nowadays. But they went out in probably like 80s of when they quit doing that. But with the rackets back then, because they were laminated and they were laminated in layers, most of the rackets, and a lot of people and you've probably noticed with the older rackets, that they have the little ribbons located near the bottom of the racket of the head. And those ribbons were typical around about the 60s to the 80s with these. And why they did that is it was kind of like keeping the lamination from coming apart and keeping them tight. So the lamination would not come in the layers, would come apart. So that's why they have those fancy ribbons on the bottom part of the racket on the older rackets from 30s, 40s, 50s up until the 80s. But that's kind of a little bit of history there for you, and that a lot of people like, and I would hope that they do. But you podcasters, you're gonna, if you want to take a look at it, go to my tennis podcast, Tennis Volley Talk, and take a look at it. Like, subscribe, and comment, and then you YouTubers, you see it, and you'll get to like, comment, and subscribe to everything there too. So that's the racket there too. But yeah, like I said, if you happen to have anything, you can send my way so I can grow my podcast. And I've been doing this just on my own for the last 3 years, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've loved being able to cover the history with you guys, and learning your story and how you grew up, and just having, and then talking tennis along the way and having some good stories too. So with that, I do so appreciate you being on my podcast today. Brian Teacher, I appreciate it so much. And thank you for giving me your time and having this interview with me on Tennis Volley Talk.
Hey, Brian, thanks for having me. I appreciate you getting me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and like I said, I gotta stick with the Bryans, So I had Brian Gottfried, and I gotta get you, and so I had to stick with the Bryans.
And I like that.
So thank you so much, and like I said, shoot me anything that you have, and I would appreciate it. And you have a great night.
Okay. I'll keep it in mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was it, Brian Teacher. So with that, I hope that you did like that. And everybody, I'll be probably doing one this week covering the big match, Indian Wells, with my sometime co-host, Rob Small. So shout out to you, Rob. And I'll probably be doing that, and we'll see what happens with that. And anybody that's still playing outside in the southern states, keep it up. Where he was 80 something today. I'm jealous. No fair. So with that, keep on playing, and I will then talk to you this week. Everybody have a great week.